What's up guys, DK here with Collector's Impact, and today we have a nice little stack of cards that's going to be going out to PSA for grading. Now, the little bit of background behind these cards, it's a nice mixture of all kinds of different cards we're going to get into. So there's Marvel, Magic, MetaZoo, and probably some others too. But the thing is, these are actually being sent economy. Yeah, that's right, economy for once with PSA. So in order to get your cards sent in economy, you have to enter some sort of stupid lottery system that they have, where it's basically there's like 5,000 people that can get a submission twice a week. And if you're in that lucky, actually it's less than that. I think it's like 3,000 people. But anyway, I've tried so many times and could never get it, and now I finally won an allotment or whatever to get some cards in using the economy grading scale. So here are the ones that I've had set aside for a few months, and I'm going to go ahead and send them in. Honestly, they're probably not all worth it. Half of this is for my personal collection. The other half is to maybe sell. But yeah, they're probably really not that good, but that's definitely why I was not going to send them in express kind of thing. So the theme is experimental. That's pretty much what this is. So without further ado, let's see what the cards are. And we'll go ahead and predict some of the grades too, or at least try to. So the first card up is this Zoe Saldana as Gamora, numbered 1 of 23. Very, very limited production. Beautiful card from the 2021 Exquisite Collection from the Marvel Black Diamond set. So a very, very limited set. It was extremely expensive. I got this as a single in the open market right after it launched. I won it on eBay. And now I have no idea what it's worth, but it's the gold version and it's number 1 of 23. So usually that's called the alpha card in the set when you get the number 1, and the omega card is if you got 23 out of 23. Those particular cards in a number sequence are usually worth more than anything in the middle. So keep that in mind as well. That's why I want it graded. I actually sent it into SGC. So there's a former video. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description where you can see where SGC rejected the card for it being too big to slab, which is totally not true.
That's an absolute fiction.
Because they have slabbed these exact cards. So that was a weird anomaly. So I'm going ahead and sending it to the King PSA to see how they react to it. But I will say that in SGC's handling of it, since they had to take it out of the case and examine it and everything, they did damage the corner ever so slightly trying to put it back in. So I don't know if it's going to get a 10. It might get a 9. It might get lower. But there is like a little tiny nick in the corner. It's more like a crimple than a nick. It's so who knows? It still might qualify for a 9 because it's like microscopic. I'm nitpicking because the graders nitpick, but yeah. Anyway, that's that card. Next up is Cosmic Spider-Man from the 1990 Marvel Universe set by Impel. Now this card I actually pulled from a pack fresh on the channel. If you want to see the pack opening for these 1990 packs, I'll go ahead and put the link in the description for that as well, as that was a pretty good video, I have to say. Like, it was just a good, group of packs, and it turned out really well. So if you're a fan of the Marvel cards, especially the 1990 set, definitely check that out because it's worth it. Anyway, this is one of the star cards that came from that pack opening. You can tell that the centering is not absolutely perfect, though using a measuring tool, it is still within the guidelines of what is it, like 4357 or whatever is the absolute minimum, off that the centering can be for a PSA 10. So it is plausible that it could get a 10, though knowing PSA and how stringent they are with these cards, it'll likely get a 9. And up next in that same spirit is this Hologram Wolverine card from the same exact pack openings, the 1990 set. This particular card is just so beautiful. It's centering on the front because it's a sticker. It is off, so I don't think that it can get a 10. But, I mean, it's right out of the pack, and it wasn't damaged at all in production, which is pretty rare for these types of cards. So I'm really excited to see what they give it. I would be very happy with a 10, obviously, or a 9. I will not be happy if it's 8 or lower, because the value on these Marvel cards when it's 8 or lower is exponentially destroyed. And since this is pack fresh, I'm obviously going for that 9 or higher. So the centering might kick it down to an 8. That's the only reason that this card would be an 8, is from the centering. So we'll see. Up next is a personal favorite. Now these cards have become extremely hard to find recently. So this is the Black Cat Sultry Seductress card from the 2011 Dangerous Divas set. So this is a subset card from within that set. There were only 8,000 boxes produced in the world, and these cards you only get like an average of 1 or 2 per box. So yeah, that's 16,000 cards in the subset. So you divide that by 10, which there are. So that's what, 1,600 Black Cat cards on average in the entire world, which is a pretty limited number of these cards to exist. So overall, it is very rare. They're very hard to find, especially the Black Cat. It's super popular. This card, however, is not mint condition. It has an issue right here. There's a blemish in this border. So it's really going to be up to the mercy of the grader in terms of how they want to grade it. It would technically be a 7 near mint in this condition, but it could also qualify for an 8 near mint category. So it could, because the card overall is gorgeous in more ways than one. Love this artwork. I would love an 8 on this. A 9 I'd be ecstatic, but with that little tiny thing there, that little tiny nick, probably not. It's going to be an 8 or 7. Let's just hope for an 8. Up next, we've got this MetaZoo Rudy Really Big Feet card, and you know what they say about having really big feet. Well, in his case, apparently people get stuck in dryers and stuff, but anyway. So this card right here, I'm going to go ahead and send it in using this economy service because normally I send these in express, but I'm really just tired of paying the high fee for these, and it's just getting a little old having to like line PSA's pocket. But either way, this is for my personal collection. I'm going to go ahead and send it in. Centering on this is absolutely beautiful. The card is right from the box, right into the sleeve. It should have no problem pulling a 10 because I have other cards from the same series that pulled 10s that are even a little bit more questionable than this one. This is like perfect. Absolutely love it. The only reason that it wouldn't pull a 10, I think, is because I'm sending it a different service tier this time. So we're going to find out. This is my experiment. This should be a PSA 10. Moving on to these Magic the Gathering cards. Up next, we have Rowan, Scholar of Sparks. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's why we put them in card savers, guys. So Rowan, Scholar of Sparks. Flip it over, you got Will, Scholar of Frost. This is obviously the showcase foil, like full art variant version. This is the rarest version of the card you can get. This was pack fresh right when Strixhaven came out. I put it straight into the sleeve, straight into the thing. This, by all accounts, I have looked it over very thoroughly. It should be a PSA 10. There's no reason that this should not be a PSA 10. There's not a single nick on this. There's not a single scratch. The centering is beautiful. This should be a 10. So that's my prediction for it. And up next, we have Jouled Lotus. This is the extended art version, non-foil. I, for whatever reason, am just not able to get the foil. I mean, they're very expensive. They're a minimum of $600 for the raw card. And I'm just not going to shell that out for a Modern Magic card to buy it as a single, and I haven't been able to pull it from a pack, so we're getting this one instead. So this one is the extended art, and its centering is not exactly perfect, but it is within the line to be a 10. The only problem is the back. The back centering is off a decent amount, left-right, and it has some minor border issues from the production of the card. When the card was actually being manufactured, cut out, and put in the packs, it's not a seamless cut. There is a little tiny bit of whitening. I don't even know if you can see it. It's so minute, but that is like the biggest thing that I'm afraid of. And by all accounts, this should easily pull a PSA 9 easily, but they might give it an 8 depending on the grader. I'm hoping for the 10. That would be ideal, obviously. But I'm going to predict a 9. Unfortunately, I'm like hitting my own kneecaps here, but you know, I'm going to predict a 9 and be thrilled if it gets a 10. And now on to my unique selections, things that most people would just brush over and not even remotely consider getting graded. I'm weird like that. So the first thing is this art card from the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set. This is the Wandering Emperor, and it's got the gold stamp. So all the art cards that I'm going to send in have the gold stamps because that means that they're slightly rarer, or actually they're much rarer than their non-stamped counterparts, which just increases their collectability. And the art cards, this one and the other ones have been looked over very thoroughly. I'm hoping for PSA 10 on this, as well as this. All of the art cards should pull a 10, theoretically. They're beautiful, not a scratch on them, not an issue with them. This one is Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients from the Zendikar Rising set, gold signature version. Just, man, I can't wait to see how the art cards turn out. Here goes Soren from Crimson Vow, gold signature version. This is actually currently the rarest art card in the entire art card series. For whatever reason, people really like this Soren the Mirthless extended art version of the card. This art card with the signature is it's highly desired, so definitely want to get this graded and really want a PSA 10 on it. And for the last art card, we have this Nissa, what's it called? Nissa of Shadowed Burrows from the Zendikar Rising set. Its signature is here on the side instead of on the bottom, so that's unique. But yeah, overall artwork is super cool. It's got lots going on in the frame, and just the vibrant nature of this card and how beautiful it looks. Man, I can't wait to see this slabbed up, and hopefully with that beautiful PSA 10 label. And last but not least, we don't just have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but we have 6 Black Lotuses from the Duel Masters game going in for grading this time. So I did send one of these in using Express. It came back a 10. And I was just so happy with it that I'm going ahead and sending in the rest of the Black Lotus cards that I have in my collection to go ahead and get graded and see if I can get a couple more 10s. I'm going to go ahead and predict 3 10s and 3 9s. I have scrutinized these all very thoroughly. They are 9 and 10 candidates for sure. So yeah, I'm going to predict 3 and 3. Well, that wraps up the video for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this little presentation of the cards, and I'm going to go ahead and send off for economy grading with the slightly higher fee for the economy and winning the lottery and all that kind of stuff to get it. They have a faster turnaround than the year turnaround that we've been experiencing up to this point. So 3 months or so, we should see the results. So definitely stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, I thank you very much for coming by and checking out this video. And I look forward to seeing you back for the reveal of the grades in the future. Thanks again for coming by. Take care, guys.